Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 27th Grafton School Committee meeting pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GLC 30A-18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Grafton School Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of the members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on Grafton Cable as well as the town YouTube channel, and you can also tune in via Zoom. We will take attendance and announce all the committee members and school officials on the call, and we will have a roll call vote for all votes. So I'll take attendance. Jennifer Conley.
Jennifer Connolly here.
Amy Marr.
Amy Marr here.
Liz Finney.
Here.
Rahul Rati.
Rahul Rati here.
And Laura Often here. James Dewar.
James Dewar here.
Annabelle Weber.
Here.
Jay Cummings.
Here.
Kristen Gasper.
Here.
Anita Patel.
Here.
And Lisa Rice.
Here.
Great. We will take our questions via the Q&A only. We'll take one question and one follow-up per person, and we'll not be reading any comments. You must state your name in your Q&A. We will not be accepting any fake screen names. We have to know who is asking the question. Amy Marr, our secretary, will monitor the questions and she'll read them after the committee has a chance to ask our questions. And viewers can always email the superintendent and committee members or reach out to us via our Q&A. Thank you. We do have an agenda change in case people are joining for that. We are going to pass over the 2021-2022 fee discussion. We're still gathering some information and we will add that to our next agenda. I'll announce that right up top, and we're going to turn it right over to Lisa Rice. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I cannot believe how fast a year goes by, right? Like it's crazy how fast, like I feels like I was just here talking about last summer. So I'm hoping that you can see my screen. I'll make it nice and big. So I'm here to talk to you about all the wonderful programming we have going on for summer 2021. So thank you for having me. I'll start with our summer season of learning, our enrichment sessions. As you know, we started this 2 summers ago, and I was really looking forward to last year because, you know, there's always some newness and getting the word out. The first year, I wanted to see if we could at least double our programs, and then COVID. So we brought back the summer enrichment sessions this year. They are running weekly, Monday through Thursday, July 12th through August 5th. For parents watching, you can find the program guide on the Grafton Public School website under the enrichment. Building admin have sent it out. We've posted it on parent Facebook groups. Or you can just email me if you'd like the program guide. I'm at ricel@grafton.k12.ma.us. And I'm happy to send the program guide out to you. We are offering this year 14 unique programs, but we're offering them 37 times. So there's 37 different time slots or options available to parents. As of right now, we have 17 out of those 37 programs have met the minimum of 8 students. Many other programs are very close to meeting that requirement. New this year is we have a lunch option so that parents can select a morning and an afternoon program and not worry about what to do with your child in between the 2 sessions. So for $10 for the full week, your child can bring a lunch and have a full day worth of programming. It will be a supervised lunch. We just will not be providing lunches. We have, as of today, 132 students participating, unique students participating. Many are taking more than one program. And the location for this will be at Grafton High School in the nice AC. So here are our enrichment session ideas. They range from science. We really try hard to make sure that they are true academic enrichment. So you'll see here, even though we're offering cooking classes, it's heavy in math and heavy in working with others. We have a math review now for middle school students. That will be a 2-week program. We have a writing program, lots of science programs that we're offering, we're really, really excited. The video games is new. So if you're looking for something for for your children who are in middle school and aren't quite working yet this summer, but you're looking to keep them busy, the video game program might be a good fit for your child as well. We'll take registrations all the way until the end of May. So please send it into the schools and we'll get you it registered. Then we are offering, once again this year, our summer learning bingo and passport. I really have to give a big shout out to Nicole Bless and to the South and North PTO and PTGs. Nicole Bless does all of our layout for it. I provide her the content in a crazy Google Doc, and she somehow makes it magic and makes it as beautiful as she does. The PTOs sponsor and the PTG sponsors our prizes. This year it's Amazon gift cards. So it's something for everyone. We want to encourage everyone to participate. That is for incoming second graders through sixth graders at Millbury Street and North Street. If you've got an incoming kindergartner or first grader, we have a mini version of the passport, and it's a bingo option for you. Something new at the passport this year to look for, because we have been doing this for 4 or 5 years, is that we do have 2019, all of the offline programming that we gave you points for. Last year, we gave you points for all the online. So this year, we kind of merged the two, and you will be able to get points for however you want to participate this summer. We have all the offline options for you to visit, different museums, but we also offer a lot of online museums and opportunities to earn points that way. As we get closer to summer, this will be posted on the school websites, and they will also be going home in the backpack. But if you're in RLA, we'll try to get you a hard copy, and you can also find that online as well. Another program I'd like to highlight is that our Title I teachers, our reading specialists, big thank you to them. They really make this program happen for our Title I students who receive reading support. We do summer mailings. Last year, we had to put a hold on this because of COVID. We weren't sure about mailing out books, but this is for the purpose is to motivate students to read. These are all students currently in first grade all the way up to sixth grade. Parents can opt in if their student receives Title I services, reading services. And every week or every 8 to 10 days, students receive a package in the mail from us. 1 week, it might be a book. 1 week, it might be an activity for that grade level, a learning activity for them to practice skills at home. Another week, it might be a letter. So one thing that I absolutely, again, I want to thank all the reading specialists who make this happen. One of the most favorite parts of this is I love getting books in kids' hands, but it's these personalized letters. So Mrs. Tulina, as you know, is a reading specialist at North Grafton Elementary School. This is an example of a handwritten letter that she sent out, and then we had students write back to her. So that's really the power of this. You know, this is just 2 examples from 2 different students who sent letters back about their summer. So that's really exciting to be able to do this mailing program again. And it would not happen without the support of our reading specialists. So thank you to them. New this year is we are offering, because of COVID and the school closures, we are offering a Title I reading and math support. It's going to be an hour and a half for 8 days. The dates are July 26th through August 5th. We are offering for current kindergarten students all the way up to current 5th grade students. We have 8 teachers, Grafton Public School employees, who will be teaching during these weeks. Students, we will send home a letter. I'm hoping they're on my island in my kitchen. I'm hoping to get those out within the next 7 days or so, and that will be sent through the backpack system. So we've invited up to 10 students per group, and parents do not have to do this, but we are offering in-person 1.5-hour sessions just to keep the learning going and to prepare students to come back in the school year. We have 2 kindergarten groups that we've formed, 3 grade 1 groups, 2 grade 2 and 3 groups, 1 grade 4, and then 2 grade 5. We have over 100 students that we're inviting. So it's really, really exciting. So be on the lookout for that. If your child is currently in Title I programming, you'll get an invite to this program. And then extended school year. We've been doing this for many, many years. So during the IEP process, the IEP team determines if students are eligible for ESY programming, and they also discuss COVID comp services. As a reminder, I love data. I just want to remind you, in 2019, we invited 254 students to participate. 2020, we invited 262. Now, 2019 was face-to-face. 2020, as you know, was remote. This year, to date, we have 157 students that we will be inviting. There are many, many more IEP meetings taking place between now and the end of the school year. So I expect this number to be very similar to the prior years, 2019 and 2020. I would say I probably have about another 100 letters to send out or so. So we have also, this week into next week, we'll be sending hire letters to about 96 staff members. And we are offering, based on DESE's recommendations, we will be offering both face-to-face, and parents will have the option for remote learning, if that is something that they would like to do. So last year we prepared 2 programs. We're doing that once again this year. We are prepared to service students face-to-face, welcome them into the schools. But if that is something that parents or guardians are not ready for yet, we are also offering a remote learning. We're working that out. DESE has said it could be synchronized or asynchronized learning. So we're still working that out based on what parents want, what they want to do. New this year is we're sending letters home through Power School. This year, we've seen a real shift in parent communication through Power School. So we're going to try to send our ESY letters home through Power School. And right from there, parents should be able to click a link to register their child. So in years past, they'd have to fill out a form, put a stamp on it, send it back to us. We're hoping to be able to allow parents just to click, fill out whether they're attending or not. If busing is available to them, they'll be able to put in their address. And we're hoping to streamline this process and make it as efficient as possible. As always, if parents would rather receive a hard copy, I'm happy to send those out as well. That letter for parents watching should go out within the next 8 days or so. I'm very close to prepping those and getting them through Power School to be sent out. There will be that Google form, and we're asking, the sooner you can let us know, the better we can plan for programming, especially knowing how many students will be face-to-face and how many students will be remote. A big shout out to Bob Wall and Nicole McDonald for all their support for extended school year. Megan Babineau is the coordinator. She works alongside me. Big shout out to everyone who makes this happen, and especially to these 96 staff members who, after a year that they've had, continue to look for ways to support students, especially over the summer. So I very, very much appreciate their help. I also have to thank Kristen Gasper and Lynn Dolson for getting out the hire letters to everyone. So thank you very much. And then staffing, again, I thank you to all those that applied and that will be working this summer. We are going to offer just again this year, 1 hour staff meeting for everyone to get everyone on the same page. And then I will continue to offer them staff support throughout the ESY programming. And then questions. I'll stop sharing so I can see you for questions, if that's okay.
That's great. Thank you. Any questions? Amy.
Great work as always, Lisa. I feel like every time you come on, you absolutely just knock it out of the park and blow us away. I had 2 questions. One, you said minimum of 8 for the sessions on your first slide. What's the maximum you're allowing?
So for the summer enrichment program, it depends on the actual programming.
Okay.
So like, for example, the cooking class, we're making sure that there's no more than 15 in that class because that teacher, it's cooking. Whereas some of the art classes can go up to about 18. And I'm going to be talking to National Honor Society. So if you have kiddos who are in that age who aren't ready to work but would like to volunteer, I'm happy to have them come and support, just be walkers to kids. Keep in mind, these students don't go to Grafton High School, so just a friendly face to be able to take them to the bathroom to wash their hands. So I'll be reaching out to National Honor Society for that support as well.
Great. And the other question I had, I'm trying to remember now because my daughter works, so I didn't really look at what was potentially being offered for high schoolers. Was there anything proposed, and was there just no interest?
So for high schoolers, I think we have the video game making going up to 9th grade, but other than that, no, there is nothing nothing that we offer. So the way that works is I reach out to teachers in December and staff and say, if anybody has an idea, pitch it. So I'm kind of at the mercy, like we offer what is pitched to us.
Right. And that, with the year that we've had, I'm guessing one of the things that I was thinking about was we had done the first, it wasn't last year, maybe it was scheduled to be last year, the AP Bio prep.
Yes.
But after the year these AP teachers have had, I do not blame them one bit for not jumping at the chance to start AP early. But it's something that a couple parents had asked me about. And it's too bad. It's just the way the year is gone. You can't, but I'm so impressed that so many staff have stepped up. That's amazing.
Yeah, if you look between the enrichment, between the Title I programming and ESY, it's quite amazing that so many people continue to want to work those 5 weeks during the summer. So we couldn't do it without them.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Any other questions?
Or if it's okay with you, I just wanted to offer Lisa a huge thank you. Can't say enough about how great she's done in leading and developing all of our summer programming. I mean, that I know COVID obviously has thrown us off last summer, but the amount of growth we've made in this area in a very short amount of time is amazing. She's created programming that's consistently fun, engaging, and meaningful. And COVID didn't help, but it was already in a short amount of time getting a lot of buzz. So I'm just super impressed. So thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you. And I appreciate you allowing this to happen in the schools. I appreciate maintenance staff for allowing it to happen because this is a shift for them, so instead of having learning stops all summer long, I fundamentally believe that learning should happen all year round. So thank you for letting that happen.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I actually had one question. You said that there were some classes that were very full or very close to being ready to go. If it isn't a lot of trouble, do you think you could send out that information? I know I've seen a lot of people kind of saying, hey, join this class. We're trying to get it going. And that might boost people to get in, but if it's a pain, don't do it.
No, we actually track it on our website. So anyone can log on to the Grafton Public website. If you go to the Grafton Public website and type in enrichment, you can see Lynn Afonte twice a week. Thank you to her. She pulls all the information from my registration doc and then updates it on the website so parents can see it. But I think it's a great idea for me to share that link on the parents' Facebook pages as well.
Yeah,
so people can see.
That's great. Thank you. I didn't know that. That's great. And yeah, I just wanted to echo what Jay said and Amy. Thank you so much, Lisa, for all you do throughout the year. But this program it's very exciting going into, I guess it's second year really, but it was a huge success the first time. And I know there's a lot of people looking for extra learning opportunities, but in a way that's fun and to keep learning. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Before I let Lisa go, any other questions or comments? All right. Well, good night. And thank you for joining us and exciting summer plans. So wonderful to see you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
All right. It's nice to think about the summer.
And
we'll take a district update.
all right. I'm going to share my screen. I don't have too much that's all that new, given that I think we've had 5 days of school since we last were together. I'm going to just touch on the quickly upon us will be the return of all students, which is fantastic. Touch on COVID, talk about some thinking we're doing around positions, related to a return to normalcy post-COVID, and just touch on MCAS. So obviously, we've already had our students in pre-K through 6 back in district full-time. That's been fantastic. Tomorrow, we have the full return of grades 7 and 8 students, which is great. That gives us 3 days before all 9 through 12 students come back on Monday, May 3rd. So we couldn't be more excited about it. I think we're in fantastic shape schedule-wise, lunches. I think we're ready to go. And whatever we find that we need to adjust and respond to, I have no doubt that we'll be able to do that fairly seamlessly. In terms of COVID, the case numbers remain relatively low. We had, I think, 9 cases the week before vacation. We didn't have any reported over vacation. We've had 4 cases so far this week, which isn't particularly high, but it's also kind of expected coming off of the vacation. DESE put out last week, they changed their close contact requirements. Their communication was a little muddy, muddier than usual, if you will. So our nursing department's done a great job taking all of that in the information that was released and have basically put it into terms that can be easily understood, where it's 1 page as opposed to, being sprinkled among 20 pages of guidance. And that is going out and going to be shared with parents. And certainly staff, but at the heart of it, that close contact, the labeling of close contact really hasn't changed. What has changed is the need to quarantine. So if somebody has been outside of 3 feet within contact with someone who is COVID positive for that sustained 15-minute period, if it's over 3 feet, they're going to be identified as close contacts. The parents would be communicated with, but the individual does not need to quarantine. If it's 3 feet or below, they would need to quarantine. Our tents are up, fully functional. Those are all being used, and that's been great. We communicated we have 2 extra tents, if you will, right now, and I believe we're going to be sharing those tents with the senior center. I don't know if that's finalized, but I took that as a very positive collaborative move today when we had that discussion. So we should see some tents up near the municipal center very shortly. In terms of new positions, you're well aware that we have 3 positions that were already built into the FY22 budget. Those are most likely going to be a math coordinator position. We're saying a literacy specialist position that could be 2 part-time individuals. We haven't figured that out yet. And then that second elementary adjustment counselor. And again, once we bring on the second elementary adjustment counselor, we'll take a look at how we're distributing the elementary counselors. Is it purely to 6? Is it pre-K through 6? How do we want to split it up? So we've yet to kind of sort through that, but those 3 positions are on the immediate horizon. As you know, we've got ESSER 2 and remaining ESSER 2 monies, and we have ESSER 3 monies that are going to be coming into the town and district. Those are a little different than monies that we've received over the past year in that they can be utilized through 2024. Now, we haven't received the actual monies, all of the definitions and the requirements associated with those monies have yet to be provided. But we fully believe that it's going to be a multi-year provision of basically a bucket of funds that can be used for particular causes. Again, it would be most likely around technology, any kind of supplies or equipment related to air purification, PPE, et cetera, and then supports for student success and remediation, acceleration of student learning, essentially, and social emotional development with that. We are looking at a position at the very least focused on student success, equity, and inclusion, kind of a director type position. We're discussing the return, in our case, of math specialists and interventionists. So that same basic model that we have for literacy, build that same basic model that's been very effective for us in the area of math. We are going to need to continue an increased level of nursing support. I'm assuming, or we are assuming, that it won't be the same level of nursing that we have this year. But we expect that there are going to be demands put upon us as a district to have increased nursing staff, and tied to that, increased custodial staff. What that looks like and how many staff members, we just don't know yet. So I just wanted to give you an early look at the discussions that we're having about staffing that would be related to monies that are on the horizon. And then MCAS, I took this picture today. This photo is from the Grafton High School gymnasium. You can see we've got floor covering and individual desks with the proper spacing. Obviously, MCAS testing in the midst of COVID is exceptionally challenging. Our technology team and our leadership team has been nothing short of phenomenal. In just this space that is pictured here, the tech team worked with the leadership team at the high school. We had an access point or a couple access points in the gymnasium, but it wasn't built to have, MCAS provided to 100+ students at one given time. So we just didn't have the bandwidth in terms of our Wi-Fi. So we have put in a whole web of access points in that gymnasium. They've tested it multiple times. It can now handle this very unexpected need for Wi-Fi access in the gymnasium at a volume that's unprecedented in that spot. That same idea has been replicated across the district. Neil Trahan, Kevin Carney at the secondary level, all of our principals and assistant principals in the tech team, they just could not have done a better job with this. This week is an infrastructure testing week for us, where they've done individual tests, but we basically, for one day, it's this Thursday, we'll simply test out our capacity to make all of this work when we do have actual MCAS. So it's really impressive. And then the Board of Education put out guidance. They put out a lot of guidance over the past, say, week. And the Board of Education modified the competency determination for the class of 22, basically meaning that juniors are not mandated to take MCAS in order to graduate. So that's what came out around MCAS, and I will keep you apprised of any roadblocks, challenges, et cetera, that we face. But the way it looks now, we are in fantastic shape. And I think that was it. I can take any questions anybody has.
Thank you, Jay. Any question? Jen?
I know you said that we're all set for MCAS with technology. I was just curious, I know we gave out a lot of our Chromebooks, so how is that all working with the Chromebooks being lent out for MCAS testing, or is it going to be on paper?
Nope. Most of the Chromebooks, well, at the high school, we have Chromebooks. We also have iPads. With the rest of the district, basically almost all of the devices that were put out, unless somebody is still in full remote, we have all of those back. We have also taken, as you might recall, going back, say, 6 months, we had Chromebooks that we still had to provide within the schools in more of your traditional carts, if you will. So those were, we've been able to now take all of those devices and repurpose all devices for MCAS over the next, for the next few weeks to get through that. So we have enough, we have plenty of devices.
All right, great, thank you.
Amy?
So speaking of full remote, I saw the guidance mentioned that there would be the ability for those students to take the test at home. Are we going to have to, as a district, recall devices to install the software? Or are we
That
writing
has been made
rules?
clear. Other than what you just stated, that we had a call with the commissioner today. It's a lot of more information to come. Like, we don't know what that means. I met with Kevin Carney at the high school today, and it was, all right, now what? Now people have a choice. We still have to provide for it in school. You definitely have to do it if there's any kind of accommodation provided. So how do we actually make that work? And as I think I mentioned at the last meeting, while that's overwhelming for us in Grafton, I can't even fathom what an urban district, how they are with basically at the we're about to jump into testing, and we've got this big unknown. So we don't know, and we are waiting anxiously for guidance on that.
Super.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
great.
Any other questions? Jay, I have a question about the positions that you were talking about.
Yep.
First of all, I'm super excited, especially about the student success position that you mentioned. And I can't wait to hear more about that. I think it's great that we're diving into that more. You mentioned that it's for ESSER funds that are going to pay for them over the next 2 years or 2 years, right?
Yep.
So are we thinking of these as kind of temporary positions? Are we going to try to work them into a future budget, or don't you know yet?
I don't know yet. All we know right now is what I laid out, that we have
Okay.
X number of dollars. It's quite a bit of money coming in. I think that's I don't think there's been a discussion about those positions without that very topic coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are bringing any positions we bring on are going to be me. I mean, look at the math positions that I talked about. We used to have those positions, and then due to budget issues, we had to move away from them. It certainly wasn't by choice.
Right.
So they're needed positions, undoubtedly, unless there's funding down the road that's provided. I don't see how we don't, and I say we being across the state, districts are adding needed positions, but with short-term funding. So we have a great
Right.
2 years and then have to do away with those positions. It's far from ideal. I mean, we'll take it over nothing.
Right.
But it's definitely a concern, certainly of mine, but I've heard it from many, many of my peers.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments on the district update? Okay. Well, thank you, Jay. And as I mentioned at the top of the hour, we're going to pass over the fee discussion that I had added, mostly added as a placeholder just in case. And we'll have some more information and a discussion at our next meeting, which is such a perfect segue into future agenda and schedule planning, which is next. So we will do in 2 weeks, we have Dr. Cummings' evaluation. So everybody on the school committee should have received instructions and login. And if you have any questions, reach out to Lou Boudiette or myself. Lou will help you more with the technology than I can, although I probably can help. And if you can get it to me by next Tuesday, that would be great. That just gives us a little bit of wiggle room in case you have trouble. And then we'll also have the fee discussion. And I think that's going to be as much as I want to add in 2 weeks, because both of those are pretty weighty topics, and I want to make sure we're fresh. But if you want anything coming up in the next couple agendas, let me know. Okay. And we have a couple no, we just have one. It's been a minute. Amy, do you have a question?
Did you want us to let you know now, or did you want us to email you?
Oh, do you have something? You can certainly say it now.
Well, I had at some point I thought there was a finance report on that list, and I don't know if I'm imagining it or if it got deleted or.
No, that's so timely. We were just discussing that in our policy meeting, subcommittee meeting. Yes,
I don't know where that's appropriate, but I noticed it wasn't
Yeah,
there.
no, it is there. It should be that we do a kind of an update of spending. It's kind of weird this time of year, Anita. So we can figure out where that should go, kind of where we are in the budget. I mean, we're almost approaching the end of our fiscal year, but Liz had asked that very question. So thank you for bringing that up. So we can look at that. Thank you. All right, now I'll move on to approval of the minutes, but if you think of anything else, you can certainly email. All right, I think we just have 1 minute.
I make a motion to approve the meetings, the minutes from April 13th, 2021 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Amy?
I noticed two very minor things. I can do it over email or I can just read them out. Page 5, second paragraph, fifth line from the bottom, Rahul's last name is misspelled, but it's spelled correctly every other spot. So
No, just the typo. Sure.
and then page 6, item 7, the way division 4 is presented is a little bit vague and confusing. So I thought it might be proper to use the Roman numeral and maybe add MASC to it, because otherwise there's no context.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Debney, and thank you, Amy. Any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. Jennifer Connelly,
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr,
Amy Mar, aye.
Liz Finney,
Aye.
Rahul Rati,
Al Rati, aye.
and Laura Often, aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next up, we have a warrant.
I move the committee approve warrant number 44 dated April 29th, 2021, in the amount of $193,413.60.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Liz?
I just had a question. I noticed on there was a repair to a window that was smashed. Does anyone know, is that vandalism or anything, or was it just a repair?
I can find out. I have no idea.
Oh, okay, just curious if anyone knew about that. Okay. Open.
Probably from the wind, the horrible wind we've been having.
Yeah.
It's insane. All right, any other discussion? Okay, this will be a roll call vote. Jen Conley,
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr,
Amy Mar, aye.
Liz Finney,
Aye.
Rahul Rati,
Aye.
and Laura Often. Aye, motion carries. All right, thank you. And now the policy subcommittee met and we have a few policies we'd like to present. Liz, do you want to share your screen or do you want me to? Okay. So we moved on to policy D, which is fiscal management. Liz, you're on mute.
It's hard to explain each of the edits that we made to each of these policies in a silo. So I'm going to give just a general explanation of what we talked about at the meeting. These are all fiscal management, budget planning, and adoption policies. So when we took a look at these all together, we noticed that there were some policies that were either superfluous, weren't really policies, or really belonged within another policy to make things more clear. So in saying that, I'll start taking you through. The first policy is DA, fiscal management. So this one talked about what the budget, originally talked about what the budget, the purpose of the budget was for the school committee. So we took that out, and that you'll see that in later language. So even though it's deleted here, it's not, it's still part of our policy. We just sort of reorganize things so that they make a little bit more sense. So this one is just talking about the accounting report that's developed and what's in it, what that is provided for. And Laura, I don't know if it makes sense to go through all of these really quickly in this case. I know it's not how we've done it before, but
So I think so, because it's kind of good to see. And if people have questions, we can go back. Yeah. You do a good job explaining it, kind of how you explained it to me.
Okay. I feel like with this, there's a lot of reorganization. So you might, I thought everyone might want to see what we did.
It will be hard to follow along, I think, at home. But.
So this one, just changing it to superintendent using the DESE classification guide rather than the school committee to better reflect what's actually happening and what we want to happen. And this is where we describe a little bit better what the purpose of the budget is and what we're trying to present to the town as what is reflected in the spending that we're planning for the year. A little bit about consulting, and then wanted to make it clear that we have to approve the annual budget in time for this for the select board to include it in the Springtown meeting. We don't have you'll see later, we took out a more specific timeline for all of the approvals. It just sort of was a little bit too onerous, a little bit too strict, and it just made sense to put it on us to make sure that we plan our meetings accordingly so that we have that vote and it's ready to go before Springtown meeting. So that's this one. I don't see, someone let me know if you see any hands if I need to stop, but I'm just going to go through these quickly. This is where it goes through specific months when certain budget planning things should occur. It talks about the school committee attending a fall town meeting workshop. And a lot of these things, it had May, the Springtown meeting, which we know it doesn't always occur in May, especially last year. But this just seems sort of unnecessary and not really a policy either. Just a potential calendar that we can easily plan when we're planning our agenda, our future agenda. We can figure that out. And then this one we took out as well. This was, let me see, did we move? I'm trying to think if we moved any of these. Again, I think this was just unnecessary. It wasn't really a policy. This was any of this description that we're communicating to the public, the objectives and needs of the schools, those items were absorbed into other policies where it lays it out in a little bit more of a consecutive and we thought clear fashion. So let's see, the budget being published and made available. Yeah, all of that. You'll see in another policy where we try to lay out exactly how that process works. This was adopted from Mass General Law regarding our budget hearing, which we always do, and we've already done this year. We just adopted it instead of just quoting exactly what it says. We turned this into an actual policy, changing such ambiguous terms as such city, town, or district to Grafton, because this is our policy. So it's just converting that. And then budget adoption process. This, we simplified this to say that we wanted to clarify that the actual budget doesn't get adopted until town meeting when the citizens vote on it. And so again, this being the budget adoption process policy, we thought this other language didn't need to be in here, and so you'll see where that is in other policies. This was a different one. This just allows the transfer of funds between accounts, between program codes with the approval of the school committee on recommendation, but transfer funds within a program code. Did I say that right? Transfer funds between program codes are allowed with the approval of the school committee. Transfer funds within that program code are reported, can be done without our approval, but they're reported through this annual budget update, that's when Laura and I had the discussion about when are we going to have this annual update. So that's the one that we just referenced. So this is just, the changes here were just to make this more clear. Okay.
Yep.
So are there any questions? I feel like I went really fast through at least one of these. I think that's this one. This is where the meat of the policy is. And this sets up the fact that we're setting up the budget, the reason that we're doing it, that the superintendent prepares the priorities, that we consult with the select board and the finance committee. So this is the one, we brought a lot of those policies into this one to lay out in one place kind of the story of how the budget is prepared and is ready. And then in the following policy, it's, well, not this one, but eventually, then we have the hearing. So we get to get our budget together. Then we have the hearing. Then the budget is adopted by the town at town meeting. So that's kind of, I hope you can see with these edits how it's set up now, at least as it's proposed.
And we're not making any real policy changes here. Nothing is being changed on how we do any practice. We're just making our policies more efficient and comprehensive as an overall. So it looks like a lot, but it's not like we're suddenly saying we're not going to put a budget together or something crazy like that. So thank you, Liz. So any questions on that? Amy.
I love this. I love that we're getting rid of more policies that we don't need, that are repetitive and we have to maintain year after year. I think you guys have done a really great job of explaining the process in as few separate sections as possible. So well done. I had one little thing. We use spring town meeting and annual town meeting. And sometimes we're capitalizing and sometimes we're not. So I don't know if we want to be consistent. I forget which one was where, but if you search for town meeting, you'll see them. I personally like annual because that's what it's called. But I think at the very least, we should be consistent with it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the other, oh, actually, Liz, can you stop right there? Oh, wait, no, go back. Sorry.
We need to distinguish between the spring and the fall town meeting, though?
We only are doing stuff in spring or / annual. We don't have any references to fall that I found. So we use spring and we use annual.
Okay.
And then in this one, town meeting, or no, it's the next one.
It is.
The hearing one. The hearing one, yeah.
And it says
Okay. That's the town meeting. Yeah. So I just think, I mean, it's the first reading and that's why, right? So whatever you guys decide. The other question that I had was about DBE-L, which cites one part of the Mass General Law, but there's another part that applies, and I'll tell you why I'm kind of thinking about this. So it says, we hold a public hearing on the proposed annual budget not less than 7 days after publication of a notice in a newspaper having general circulation and grafting. I don't know that we're actually paying to do the legal notices at this point. I haven't seen, are we paying? Okay, good.
Yeah, remember, you even brought it up to make sure we had to do it before our budget hearing.
I just didn't know that we put that we paid Grafton News to do the notice because I didn't see it in a warrant.
Oh, I saw it in the Grafton News.
Right. So there's a difference, I guess, between an article in the Grafton News that mentions it and a paid legal notice.
Right. It was a notice. It wasn't
Okay,
an article.
Well, I
Yep.
don't subscribe, so that's why I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when I went to search on their website, it wasn't, I couldn't come up with it. So I looked, Mass General Law, section, chapter 4, section 13 talks specifically about notifying about public hearings. And it's something that is going to get changed probably before we review this policy again, given the dearth of newspapers in circulation. I don't think we're ready quite yet to say Grafton doesn't have a newspaper, because we do. But I didn't know if we wanted to also look at that policy or at least cite it here, so that if the state does change it, they're not going to send us a special email and say, hey, by the way, we changed it. There's not a bill actively.
Well, we
now.
do actually get emails from MASC when any policies get changed.
Okay, I thought we only got the ones that pertain to schools.
Right,
So-
but this would pertain to school.
All right, well, we can leave it alone.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, Amy.
No, I was just saying that either we need to make a note that this could change, because there have been
Yeah.
bills before, right? It's just very, very specific. There's
Yeah.
only one newspaper. And
Yeah.
there are very few people that subscribe to it at this point. So,
But we still have to put our budget up, not just in the newspaper, it's in other places.
yes, I know.
Okay, we can, I understand what you're saying. It is very specific, but for now, I think it's quoting the law as it is. And if that law changes, we'll pull the policy again, even if it's not within the time frame. It's okay.
Okay.
But thank you. That's a good point. Liz, any thoughts on that? Or?
No, that's pretty much
All
it.
right. Well, if you want to scroll up to the top, because I do want to take these as first readings because we've made a lot of edits. So we'll bring them back and we'll make some of the edits that Amy suggested with the consistency. And then, so we could either lump them in one big motion, or we could take them one at a time. However you guys want to do it. I was
thinking of lumping the first readings in one motion and the removing in another.
That's what I was thinking, Jen, in the interest of time and efficiency. Would you like to make those motions?
I shall. I'd like to make a motion for, sorry, I'm tired today. I'd like to make a motion to accept policy DA fiscal management, DBC annual budget, DBEL budget hearings and reviews, DBG budget adoption process, DBJ budget transfers as a first reading.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? No, hearing none. This will be a roll call vote. Jennifer Conley,
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr,
Amy Marr, aye.
Elizabeth Spinney,
Aye.
Rahul Rati,
Laura T.I.
and Laura Often, aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right.
I'd like to make a motion or recommend to remove policy DBCE budget planning preparation schedules, DBE communication of budget recommendations as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. This will be a roll call vote. Jennifer Conley,
Jennifer Connolly, aye.
Amy Marr,
Amy Marr, aye.
Rahul Rati,
Laura T.I.
Elizabeth Spinney,
Aye.
and Laura Often, aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. I love that, Jen. All right, member reports. I know we haven't really had much time between. Nobody? James, Annabelle?
I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I started my internship at the middle school, so that's where I'm at full time now.
Nice. What are you doing?
I'm working with Mr. Petritis and Mr. Tarzik on the social studies classes.
Awesome. Oh, great role models. Terrific. Well, several of us have children in the middle school who are on this call. So if you come across any last names you recognize, be sure to, I don't know, give them a hard time or say hello.
I will. Yeah,
Your choice, James. So that's great. How are you liking it?
it's fun. Yeah, it's definitely different from being a student versus like taking up a teaching role.
Yeah. Is that something you're looking to pursue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'd
Oh,
like to do.
good. Good. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to do the internship program this year. So that's great. Anything else?
No, I was
Okay.
say to James, have you heard from other people and how their internships are going or what kind of internships they're doing?
I haven't heard from them since we started, but I know one, there's four of us. There's one who's at the elementary school at one of them. I don't know which one, but another one's with a school nurse and one is at a dentist office. So I'll have to touch base with them and see how they like it.
Maybe that's something we can add to a future agenda. I'd love, because I feel like this might be the first year. This is actually, is it the first year? Because we were going to do it last year.
Yeah.
Yep, they
So I
canceled.
wouldn't mind, like, when it's finished, kind of either hearing from people who participated, even though it's summer, so they may not want to at this point, but, or just anybody who can kind of give an overview of what the students did. That's great. So let's add that to a future agenda. All right, anybody else? Okay. And correspondence, I only received two emails that I forwarded from some concerned citizens about the fee discussion we had 2 weeks ago. So I'll forward them to Debbie and they can be in the minutes. Oh, I love this post-vacation meeting. We do actually need to go into executive. Oh, Amy, what do you have?
I was waiting for you to talk about Day on the Hill.
Oh, gosh, that seemed like a lifetime ago. You
I know.
talk about it. We both went.
It's been so long. It was a very, very long and educational.
It was long.
I'm very grateful that I have the free time to do it. I learned a lot, but I can't tell you what I learned right now because it's all a blur. But basically we got to hear from elected officials around the Commonwealth about how they're advocating for education and various issues. There was a really great speaker whose name I can't remember, who talked a lot about equity and inclusion. And I was just so gobsmacked by stealing all of his slides during the presentation that I should probably just send them all to you. He was really, really great.
It was.
And it was a great experience. Laura and I kind of chatted a little bit while we watched. Some of it was very heavy. There was a lot of angst around funding. As you probably all know, the state is, dealing with the budget now. I think has it gone to the Senate? I think it has. The House approved it. Now it's in the Senate. They're debating. It looks like they're not going to give districts any sort of funds to cover the fact that other districts, and we're grateful that we're not in this position, but we didn't lose a ton of kids who went private or went with an online school outside of the district. But a lot of districts can be really hurting because their disbursement from the state is going to be based on enrollment as of October of 2020, which, as we know, throughout the state was down. So now everybody's scrambling for money, and the state's saying, "Oh, but we give you, you have federal money. You should be able to use that to cover the gap," which is very disappointing. But we're very, very lucky to be in the position that we're in, and we're in that position because of Jay and Anita, Kristen, and Tracy, everybody on the executive team who spent every dime wisely, knowing that I think when we first shut down in March, nobody knew it was going to get this bad. Nobody could have foretold how long we'd be closed or what we would need for teaching. And you all did such a great job that listening to some of the stories from some of these other districts, I'm just like, what a year to be a school committee member. But in Grafton, what a year to be a school committee member. We really haven't had it as bad as some of these other towns. So thank you to you guys. And I'm looking forward to doing it in person next year if they do it. I think the environment of being around other people is probably more the point. Have you been?
Yeah, I've been a couple times, and Jen and I went a few years ago, and we got a really great tour from Representative Meridian. She and Maureen Cohen and I went, and it's a really good. And I went my first year on school committee. I was all excited. I did a presentation with cards and everything to the committee afterwards.
Yeah, COVID.
But yeah, no, I know, but it is, and we're lucky to have MASC. So, and the news also is that the annual conference is going to take place. It'll be hybrid. I think I mentioned that last time. So that'll be great for anybody who's able to get the time off to go, or even just to watch a couple meetings from home. So thanks for going, Amy. It was good. It was nice to be able to chat with you. And I'd heard some of that before.
Are they going to do the karaoke hybrid, or do we have to go to do that?
I don't know.
What? It's part of the conference. There's karaoke. It's amazing.
I think there's video. All right. On that note, I will, we do need to move into executive session. So I will take a motion for that.
I can't find the wording, like that's what I'm looking for. Do I need to? Can I just?
You can just, yeah, you don't have to read all that nonsense.
Okay, because I can't find it. So I make a motion to go in executive session to talk about contract negotiations, and we'll reconvene in order to.
Only for adjournment. Well, we can be in open session only for adjournment. Right. This is non-union person. I mean, this is union personnel, excuse me.
Second, sorry.
Thanks. It was a little mumbled. All right, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Jennifer Connelly.
Jennifer Connelly, aye.
Amy Marr.
Amy Marr, aye.
Liz Spinney.
Aye.
Rahul Rati.
Aye.
And Laura Austin, aye. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.